Now, for the past couple days, I have been practicing exploration in Deep Null. Well, I say practicing, but I have been trying out some different builds for some of my ships. I have a plan to switch to a Stratios for my primary exploration ship, mostly because the Stratios has a 4th mid slot which, can be equipped with a Scrambler, or it can be equipped with a red scanner, which would help me feel a bit more safe in hostile space. Now I say safe, but if I have a Scrambler, then I'll be able to catch other explorers that try to complete my site. Or I can also carry a PvP build with me all the time, so I can swap to a PvP build if I spot a very good target. So the Stratios can technically replace the Astero for exploration. However, it is a bit slower, and of course the Stratios is a larger ship that is one of the slowest cruisers in the game. But I think for the extra DPS, extra tank, and I would say in some cases better safety, it would be a very interesting upgrade. Now I have been using my Astero for 2 years now. My Astero, well, not this one. This is the cheaper Astero that I bought for Deep Null specifically. My more expensive Astero is in low sec. I used that ship for like 2 years, and I made roughly about 90 billion with that ship. That ship did allow me to afford the first generation of integrations that I used on most of my ships, and it's also responsible for partially responsible for the integrations that I used to have on the Revelation. So the Astero definitely did a very good job to make me ISK, and I love the ship. However, I feel like for the future, having a Stratios for exploration would be a bit more, I guess, not really robust in the way that it is only for tank, but it does allow me to keep my sites safe, and also it does allow me to scan the surrounding area to see what other vehicles or what other ships are around me. So let me quickly show the build on this ship. Now the DPS on the Astero with this build isn't anything spectacular. I mean, 260.84 DPS, I'd say that's fine. I could technically use a medium repair or a build that has medium missiles, but did not pick them up, and I don't have them in this station. The rigs: anti-explosive, anti-kinetic, anti-trommel, and triple gravity capacitor upgrades to reduce the scan radius. Now on my expensive Astero, I think I recently changed my scanning rigs into tier 4 rigs, which was a very nice thing to do. It has about 35 meter scan radius. This one has 52.97. Now for Deep Null sites, you want to have below 75. So this basically can detect all the sites that are in the game. And who knows, perhaps in the future they might add sites with 60 meter scan radius, which would mean that they would be much more difficult to scan down and have the most expensive scanners and analyzers. Recently, their price did go up. They used to be about 180 million. That's when I bought them, but now they're about 379 million. So there's a good chance that their price will go up very soon. So if you plan to get them, perhaps might be time to buy one. Although if the price on these things goes up, then you will make profits once the price goes up. I will use them. I mean, if you already invest ISK in the analyzers, then the ISK will eventually return. I make about maybe 300 million every time I unlock on average, and that's just like the lowest average. It really depends on what I find, and of course depends on the time, since in Deep Null it's a bit different than in low sec. And I would say in most cases I still kind of prefer low sec exploration, since there are some systems that are literally very dead and no one goes there, which are perfect for exploration. Definitely one of the places where I love to go, and I keep those systems for myself for now. And for the drones, hobgoblins for the DPS, one micro warp drive, clocking device, and an armor repairer. A classic Astero build for PvE. So, with that being said, it will be time to jump in and let's see what sites I do find. Now, Deep Null is interesting because you have access to level 4 and level 5 sites, which I would say are a bit more difficult to scan down since they usually have like 2 or 3 signatures, and you know, depending on what signature it is, it might be sometimes really tricky to find, but once you get used to it, it's honestly not a big deal. So, Angel Databank. Now, the databank is one of the more valuable ones. I always try to get the databanks first, since they might drop some very good stuff. Ironically, I still have found a lot more risk in low-sec than in null-sec in the recent days, which is kind of funny, and that did drop from level 3 sites as well, so I think it really depends on the region. Now, I'm in Angel, and I also have access to Sansha. My favorite one is Blood Raider, however, I can also slow down with a Sansha space with Sansha sites, which will be included in this video down the road, since the Sansha can drop some very good stuff. However, nowadays they are, I would say, about the same. However, the Angel exploration sites are not really my favorites, but they still do drop some good loot, and I'm not going to say no to a site, because you never know what you can get out of them. Now, in Null, if you are somewhere in hostile space, then you really have to look at the local and basically cloak the second something pops in, because you don't want to get caught. In nullsec, the safety basically doesn't exist, even in friendly space. And one red popped in. I managed to crack open the box and cloak. So, and I think the loot was pretty good. I saw one chip drop. The chips can be very expensive. They are very useful and currently quite on demand. So, having the chips is a good thing. I have a lot of them. A lot of different chips in all of the stations that I will transport to lowsec, and then will be transported to Ita for the market. I love making ISK with exploration. It's quite relaxing, and I kinda always wanted to just do exploration for a while in the game. So far, I love the experience. It's fun. Now we have one neutral and one red. Okay, that things are getting interesting here. Now this is a moment where I wish I had a Stratius, since if one of these players or ships that are somewhere in space are exploring, then I could easily camp one of the boxes and wait for them to come near me, and then I can just yeet them. And for that I have to develop a new engineering rig layout for the Stratius, because I kinda want to have both the scanner strength, analyzer strength, and I also want to have lock speeds, so that I'm able to quickly lock on the targets. And I have a couple of builds in mind that I might show you very soon, because I believe those builds will be very, very useful very soon. So, since I always, work for a build in advance with various different situations in mind, that's how I build my ships. I try to account for content that's in the game and for content that could theoretically be added in the future. That's what that's what I've been saying for a while, and that's why my builds do last for a very long time, since I already kind of prepared the ship for anything that's coming new. I always do that, and so far it's been working really well. Saves when it works really well when you want to do a build that will last for a very long time without having the need to change it every 3 months. And some of my ships have the same build for like 3 years, because I already accounted for everything that's been released, so that's why it works. No, that red in local is now being very suspicious, either hunting or exploring. One of these two things. So I'm still somewhere in space, floating around, waiting for the moment to go after. Oh, well. Would you look at that? Someone has a death wish. Well, not the death wish, no, but our friend here is exploring, and I am in the local. A brave one. Usually when I'm in local, no one dares to go to any box. Well then, I have an idea. I have no points, I have no scrammers on the Astero, but I still have drones and I still have the element of surprise. Now unfortunately don't have the drone bombs equipped because I forgot to do that, I guess. So the mainframe is the one that's up ahead, I think. The mainframe that's close to me, 38 kilometers. Yeah, that's the one to my left. I'll go there actually. Yeah, I'll just approach this box here. This is why I love the Stratus. If I was in my Stratus, yeah, would be very funny when. Oh, and I have my cooperative based on the speed. Okay, definitely have definitely a full-on exploration build. So I don't expect them to have any points or any offensive medium slot modules. Okay, 20. Oh look, yeet it is. Drones are out, approaching to 0. I'll attempt to ram, and they warped off. This is where, yeah, this is when I wish I had a Stratus, because if I was in a Stratus, that probe would be dead. However, don't worry, that probe didn't go far. Our alliance caught him down the road, so the probe has been destroyed, will be destroyed. And he did not loot much of the sites. Didn't loot the most valuable thing. This box right here, I think, did carry some very nice stuff. So we will see what will happen. Now they know that I'm here now, so they're definitely not coming back. The Astero is a bit more dangerous than the Probe Explorer, so they're definitely not coming back unless they have a death wish. So yeah, should be now pretty safe. Well, I say safe. Should be good. I don't have to worry about. And he dropped a chip. Lovely. I'll take it. Okay, the site should be cleared. I think it's cleared. The probe did take one box, but again, it wasn't that valuable, and I managed to snatch the most expensive stuff from that site. And I'm happy. That was good. Alright, I wish that I caught the probe, would be just, you know, cherry on top, but you know, next time I'll be in a Stratus, because I have to. It is time to upgrade to something a bit more, I guess, something a bit more dangerous, something that has a bit more kick to it. I'm not saying that the Astero is bad. The Astero is still the best boat for exploration, but I need the Astero definitely the best exploration boat, since, you know, it has all the necessary bonuses, it has the cargo, it has the speed, it has everything, it has the stealth. But for situations like the one that you just saw a couple moments ago, that's where the Stratus will shine, because the Stratus has a 4th medium slot, and it can easily catch frigates. It's one of the best ships, and I would say the best ship to use when you want to kill frigates. Now, some will say, well, the Stabber fleet is the best. Well, yeah, it's good, but you can't really catch voyage core ships with the Stabber fleet. Meanwhile, with the Stratus, the voyage rig is not going to see you until it's too late. So the Stratus is definitely much better than the Stabber fleet for killing frigates now, since you get the stealth, you get the DPS, you get the element of surprise, and for medium slot modules, yeah, the Stratus is definitely the way to go. I love the Stratus, and I'll definitely be flying that thing a lot more, since there's going to be a very nice use for it, and I already have developed a build that I'll use. So, well, technically developed a build, still not really sure what to go with, but I have a pretty good idea what I'll do. with the ship. Would be a bit interesting to figure out what engineering integration I'll use. Maybe 3p, maybe 2p. The 4p, I mean, I think the engineering rigs are quite, I would say, quite cheap compared to the combat ones. I know the combat 4p costs like a couple kidneys and a liver, and the 4p 70 costs even more than that. So yeah, I have to actually check out the price tag on the engineering. I think they should not be that expensive. They should not be that expensive, but the rigs itself will be, since I need to buy a bunch of rigs in order to get the necessary combination. I'm trying to figure out whether I should focus more on the targeting part or more on the scanner part, since I want to make sure that I have below 75 meter. Actually, I want to make sure that I have below 60 meter scan radius on the scanner. That does help both ways. It does help with the red scanner and does help at enhancing the blue one. The red scanner will be useful when you are somewhere in hostile space, and when you want to make sure, and when you want to actually see what's around you. That's when the red scanner is going to be very useful, since the red scanner can see things that you can't. Well, it can't see ships that are cloaked, yeah, but it can see stuff that's around you in space, and that's where the red scanner can be very useful for exploration, since it does give you some idea on what's around you, and the Stratus for that purpose is really good. So yeah, maybe two rigs, two integrations for exploration, basically for the scanner, and to reduce the minimum source radius. That's one thing that also I wanted to do on the Stratus. I can theoretically reduce its scan radius to such an extent, to its source radius, my apologies, its source radius to such an extent that it will get a ping from anything that tries to scan you. Basically a anti-scan Stratus. That is something I thought about, and since I'll have to fuse a bunch of electronic rigs together, I will probably do that. So honestly, when I think about it, a lot of ideas are popping in my mind. A anti-scan Stratus. I thought about it before, I think, but I never proceeded with it, since I didn't really need a Stratus for such purpose. But nowadays, I think that would be a pretty good idea to have, and I'm definitely going to be trying. I think I'll be trying it out on the test server first, just to see the numbers, and then if I like the numbers, then I'll just go and do it on the live server as well. Alright, so that was a decent site as well. Let's go to the next. We're already warping to the next one. Okay, perfect. Exploration is one of the more relaxing activities that you can do, especially since it was buffed. I love the buff on exploration. Could be better, can be better, and it will be better. I know, and I'm 100% sure that the developers are. Well, I already knew that, but they watch the videos. They know what's happening. They 100% know what's happening. That is something I can tell you. You will be surprised, but a long time ago, like 2 years ago, when my revelation was quite fresh out of the oven, I actually had the chance to shoot at developers. They came AFK through the gate, as usual, in their Macarial, and they met the revelation. That was a very fun thing that happened. And then a couple days ago, another one also popped in. So my revelation has 2 developer kills striped on the hull. And those are some of my favorite kills in the game. And the developers were pretty chill about it, actually. You'd be surprised, but they were pretty chill. But yeah, that was funny. It was also kind of funny how I found out that they were developers. But I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just not going to say more than that. But yeah, I did have the chance to shoot at developers a long time ago. And they ever since then they have changed the autopilot route. They don't go through that system anymore. But who knows? Perhaps I'll do get the chance to catch one of their ships again. But yeah, that's why the Revelation is a bit iconic, and I would say right now the Revelation is my most iconic ship. Since that thing blew up so many ships, it's insane. A true legend. That ship is a legend. That's why I try to keep it alive for as long as possible. Now at one point you are going to see me swap to a Blood Raider. Not Blood Raider. I wish it was Blood Raider, but I'll swap to the Sansha region. You might be wondering, why do I like Blood Raider regions so much? Well, Blood Raider region did give me those 90 billion discs from exploration with the Astero, so I definitely do like that region. A little fun fact, something that I haven't talked about ever. In one of the previous games that I used to play quite actively, Star Conflict, there is a ship. There's a it's a guard frigate. Basically, guard frigates are the equivalent of tanky battleships in EVE. The ship was called Blood Raider, and I played that game from 2012 or 13 up until 2019. And the Blood Raider in that game was amazing. That thing was absolutely mental how good it was. Was literally the tankiest ship in one of the tankiest ships in the game. At the time it was rank 9. Nowadays it's rank 17, so it has been elevated to a high rank. But back then that thing was really good, and it was a DLC ship that I got for free, since at the time I was quite active in tournaments in that game, and I had a high spot. At one point I was top of the leaderboard, so I did get all of the different stuff back then. So yeah.
Warp drive active.
And I cannot believe that it was called. Now I can't believe that was called Blood Raider. Everything makes sense a little bit, you know. It kind of was foreshadowing my experience in EVE Echoes now, which I love. I mean, there are some things that I can't really explain that well. There are some higher forces at play. That's all I'll say, because now when I go back and see some of the older games they play, there are some references that kind of, you know, they kind of gave me a foreshadowing of what I'll do down the road in my gaming career, and I find that quite awesome and quite intriguing. But yeah, that's Star Conflict, a game that I used to love so much. Unfortunately, the developers have ruined that game when they added overpowered alien ships and destroyers. But more on that when I go and record that game. But I would say probably one of my best gaming experience of all time. Nothing beats what I felt back. Nothing beats it. Like, it was it felt special. 2012 to 2019, I don't know, felt special in a way for gaming. Felt like it was peak, you know. Nowadays, not really sure how to describe the gaming scene. I mean, you see, there are good games out there, of course, but it doesn't feel the same as it used to be back then. Back then, there is some form of magic to it. I don't know. It was so unique and so special that it's kind of difficult to put into words. But anyway, back to EVE Echoes. So, running a. I think it is still Angel. Okay, it is still Angel Space. So, yeah, the sites that you might find are big. In some sites you might find a lot of mainframes, a lot of data banks, and usually those sites are known to drop some very juicy stuff. You can also find some really expensive rigs occasionally. Well, I say occasionally, there's a bunch of them out there, like 4P70 rigs, 2P80 rigs that can drop in Deep Null. And I actually did find one of these rigs a long time ago, back when they were about 5 billion per rig right on the release on the new integration. That's when I found the blueprint. I think I still have the blueprint somewhere around in some of my stations. I don't think I sold it, but that was one of the most expensive items that I've ever found from exploration. And I found a lot. I mean, the early days of exploration were really fun. I say really fun because I was one of the first players to stumble upon the empty regions within the game. There are some regions that are really dead, that basically are not connected with any null sake entrance or any popular area. Basically, I like to call them the bottleneck regions, and that's where I was lurking back then. Back when I found them out, I was looking for basically I was looking for them. Looking for a quiet region where I can just go and do what I like to do. Well, I was one of the first ones to find them, and for a very long time I was the only one. Well, I say only one, but one of the very few players who knew about that at the time. While everyone was roaming around in Null and high competition in the ordinary low sec, high competition in null space, I didn't have much competition in the quiet regions in the game. So that kind of allowed me to have a lot of time and to find a lot of sites. Since no one used to do them there, I was the only one for a while, and I had the whole region to myself. So that's how I managed to get so much ISK. And then down the road, as people relied to that exploration was bad, that even helped me a lot, since no one was doing exploration at one point, and I had literally everything. I had everything to myself. So yeah, but now I'm actually very happy to see that a lot of players are doing exploration, and very happy to see that they actually enjoy it. That's the most important part. So yeah, my job is to show you guys what works really well in the game. My job is to show you basically everything that is within the game. So I'm very glad that a lot of you started to do exploration, and very glad that you are able to profit in ISK quite a bit. Now, I talked about this before, but I combined exploration with industry, since buying stuff from the markets and then manufacturing the item in some cases can actually lead to you to lose ISK. I kinda solved that problem by finding all the necessary materials from exploration. I figured out that I have a lot of materials, a lot of let's call them building blocks, because that's what they kinda are for the blueprints. I have a lot of building blocks for the blueprints, and I decided to put them to use. All that exploration in the end is now paying off really well, since I have maybe couple thousand blueprints, and I have also a couple thousand of level 3 blueprints that are quite expensive when built. The price to build them isn't as bad as I heard. It doesn't cost much. Let's say for a module, for a blueprint, that's for a module that costs about, I would say, 50 million ISK. I require to spend about 500,000 ISK just to manufacture it, which is immediately a very big profit when I sell that. So if you combine industry with exploration, you are definitely going to be making a lot of ISK. Definitely profitable. And that's what I decided to do. I honestly enjoy it so far, and every day I produce about, I don't know, maybe like 50 rigs or something like that, that costs 50 million per piece. And I still haven't sold all that, basically stockpiling until I build enough of them so that I can just go and flood the market with them. That's what I'm doing at the moment, and so far doing quite successful actually. Getting EX from PvE and PvE, although lately PvP has been really, let's say, not as not as explosive as I'm used to it, because for some reason everyone just recognizes me in the local and they refuse to run the mission while I'm a local. So I mean, there are still ships blowing up around me, but if I'm in the system, then the ships are not blowing up as much because they see me in local and they just nope out of the system and they cancel the mission. I missed about 50 ships that way in the last couple days, because they jump in the system, they see me, and they nope right out. That's what's been happening around lately, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, if it means that players are learning how to avoid pirates, and if it means that they are now fighting back a bit more, I'm all in for that. I don't mind that. More fun and more challenging. So, yeah, that's what's been happening on the PvP scene. I still do some PvP. I mean, some PvP. My primary and most favorite thing to do in the game is PvP, but yeah, right now it's a bit more difficult to catch something if they know who you are and what you're doing, and they know what ships you're lurking in. I had a very fun encounter with someone. Both of us were basically stalking the same Drake, and I'll be uploading that video in the next couple days. It was honestly really funny. Now they were using a hound for tackle. I was in the Stratius lurking close by. I actually planned to, and I knew that there was something up since they were in local for quite a while and scan was clear. Besides the Drake, no one else was in local, so I knew that something was definitely up, and the stations were clear as well, so that means 100% something cloaked in space. I warped to the Drake, and at one point I see this hound decloaking, right? And they tackled the Drake. However, something really weird was happening there. The Drake seemed to be using the micro warp drift. They were quite fast. They were going at least 760 meters per second, and I know that the Drake is quite a slow ship, so that was definitely a micro warp drift. Now I looked close at the ships, and I didn't see the Drake shooting at the hound, and I did not see the hound shooting at the Drake, which is a very big red flag to me, because it's 1000% looked like a setup to make me engage. So I decided to watch, and I was watching for a while, and they did not shoot at each other. They were just, the hound was orbiting the Drake was burning away. At one point I was very close to tackle. I was like at 12-13 kilometers from them, but I didn't decloak and I didn't tackle, since there was obviously something fishy going on there. And some time passed just to speed up things, and the Drake warped off. So the Drake was stabbed, and the hound also warped off. And then later, the guy who was in the hounds obviously did have another account nearby with a DPS ship. Did not see what ship it was. I think it was a cruiser. And they thought that the Drake was my bait, so they didn't warp with the DPS because they did not want to meet the Stratius. But at the same time, I also thought that the Drake was his bait, and I also did not want to decloak because I knew that something would drop on me. So we kind of both of us thought the same thing. But the Drake escaped, so the Drake was a third party. Not really sure why they didn't shoot, but that was quite hilarious and quite fun. So you will see that encounter in one of the next videos. It was honestly really fun and hilarious at the same time. Both of us thought the same thing, although it wasn't what we expected it to be. And that's one of the beauties of EVE. You will have encounters like this, and they're more fun than PvP itself, because
warp drive active.
It was something unique and honestly something funny. So if the Hound Pilot, if you're watching this, that was fun. That was definitely fun, and was a very fun encounter. Hope that you were able to catch that Drake after I logged out to charge my phone. I don't know what happened later. I hope that the hounds did catch the Drake after I logged out. I would actually team up with the hound to kill the Drake, because why not? Feels like both of us had the same goal, and both of us felt like pirates, so might as well team up to kill the target. Could be a very fun experience. Anyway, back to the next site here. I mean, I have done a bunch of sites. Now this has been recorded not really in a linear time frame. Some of it was recorded at night. Some of it was recorded early in the morning. Some of it was recorded literally at 3 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, I've been recording in various different, I guess, times. So I'm not really one after the other. I had moments where I docked to unload my loot, because, you know, just in case. Once the loot is fully loaded, I take a interceptor and I transport the loot to ETA or to Lowsec, where I built the modules from the blueprints. Speaking of transporting with the interceptor, when we do eventually get smart bombs, things will be a bit more difficult to transport stuff through, because there will be smart bomb battleships on literally all low-sec entries from null-sec. There will be smart bomb battleships, pipe bombs, so-called pipe bombs, everywhere, and I will probably fly one. So that's going to make the prices on modules and stuff go up, since it is no longer going to be as easy to transport stuff as it is now. And I would really love to have smart bombs in the game, because they will make the game feel more like EVE and would be a bit more exciting. It will also kind of solve some of the market issues that we have. Everything would be more expensive. Well, I say solve the problem. For some of us, it would make all things more profitable, and at the same time, if you have to buy it, well, yeah, it will cost more. So it's a sword with two edges at the moment. Double-edged sword. So yeah, but smart bombs would be very fun to have in the game, and I would love them. It's something that it's missing. So the interceptors would get yeeted quite often. There will be some juicy kill mails. Can already see everything would go up in price, making things profitable, but at the same time also making things more expensive. So yeah, there are some ways where you could technically safely travel from one place to the other, but I'm not gonna talk about that now, for various reasons. I have to be very careful. Now, what do we have here? 4 or 5 boxes, lovely. And I can do this literally the whole day. Like, this is one of the things that I love about exploration. You can literally do it whenever you want. Doesn't really depend on... Actually, it does kind of depend on free time, since there are some systems that have no stations, and in Deep Null, where there is only player stations or citadels, then you would eventually be forced to log in space, which honestly is not a bad thing. You have the safe log option, and if there is no one local, just click safe log, wait for the ship to disappear, and you are safe. Well, I say safe. It's definitely not safe in space, but if you safe log in space, then higher chance for your ship to survive. So yeah. That's one of the things that you can do if you are short on time. Which is... I mean, I used to... What was I about to say? I was distracted a little bit. I used to, when we were doing some Black Ops operations a long time ago with battleships, I actually didn't dock for maybe a month straight, since I was usually logging out in space with my Hyperion. That was a time where we were running around the galaxy, basically trying to camp different gates. It was quite successful. We haven't lost anything. We had some very nice battles. And I was basically logging out in a high-sec system, very close to a low-sec entry for a month. I haven't seen a station for a month, basically. It was very fun. It was honestly very fun and quite exciting. This game is so much fun when you have the right players. That was a very nice drop as well, by the way. It was a nice chip. would be very good to sell that on the market. Cannot wait to go to the market to sell that stuff. Will be quite fun to see the market flooded. I can easily flood the market if I feel like it, because I just have so many. I have so many materials and chips now. Perhaps I should. Perhaps I might do it next
Warp
week.
drive active.
I haven't really decided on that yet. Okay, next. I love seeing so many remain boxes. However, the name of the box, I think it doesn't really mean much. I mean, it does mean that there is probably better loot in the box, but I did get some very juicy chips out of some normal boxes of lower rarity. So that's kind of funny. Kind of funny. But I always try to loot everything. Now this topic, this is something that I need to cover. So, if you are doing exploration, and if you are scanning a site, just collect all boxes. Don't leave anything behind. Don't leave a rubble box. Loot everything, since if you don't despawn the site, no new site will spawn in its place. So when you find a site, just collect and scan down all the boxes. Don't leave anything. Let the site despawn. Once it despawns, then a new one can open with better loot inside. So never leave boxes open. Always loot everything that you find. Since I remember in lowsec, I stumbled upon a lot of sites that have been scanned down but haven't been completely looted. So you will stumble upon a site with, like, I don't know, 5-6 boxes. All of them are empty besides that one rubble box that's just sitting there, and not only are you wasting time trying to find that one box, the site not being despawned is not helping the pal who actually found the site for the first time. So always scan down and crack open all the boxes. Don't leave anything behind, since it is not going to help. Not going to help further down the road when you are going to a new system, because sometimes when you scan down a system and find a site, complete the site, a new site can spawn right in the next system that you're going for. So I actually did manage to
warp drive active.
Chain couple of the spawns in a row that way, which is funny because if there is a system which is basically a pipe, there is no left or right, just one direction, and if you manage to find a site in let's say the beginning of the pipe, and if you complete it, sometimes as you go through the pipe, the sites will keep spawning right one after the other in every system. So you go from one system, find the site, complete it, and you go to the next one, and then when the first one spawns, it will spawn right in the next system, and that's how it basically goes until you reach the end of the pipe. That was something quite hilarious that happened to me. Not really sure if that's like a mechanic or something, but it happened. Found 6 or 7 sites in a row that way in deep Null. First it was empty until I stumbled upon that one site, and then when I was going back, there was one new site with every new system that I was going for, and was a pipe system. So perhaps you might get a chain like that, and I found maybe 500 million. All of these sites was basically like 100 million per site, which is still pretty good value. From that 500 million, I can technically build about $1 billion of stuff. So honestly, it was a very good profit, and also one of the potentially new mechanics that have been added with the recent change to exploration a couple months ago. Okay, 2 boxes are left. Wonder. I actually even saw some. What was it called again? Ah, yeah, Nihilus sites where I accidentally entered and I saw a bunch of retrievers mining. That was in low sec. So Nihilus space is surprisingly populated. I wasn't expecting to see so many ships there. I just went back to the gate because yeah, let's just not get killed by a bunch of drones, but I was surprised to see so many miners inside of Nihilus. I might have actually. I might go and do a Nihilus roam to see what's inside. Maybe I get some very juicy orca kills or something, but there's definitely so much going on in the game that I'm not aware of. I mean, it's Eve. There is always something that's going on that some players are not aware of, but it seems like Nihilus space is quite lively, and I love it. Some of my friends are mine. They love to use the mining ships for mining, and I know that they occasionally go inside of these mining systems to mine stuff. I mean, the game does have things like that, and I love it. Oh, and a new chip has been
Autopilot
collected. Okay,
active.
not bad. So far, quite a successful exploration. I have, like I mentioned before, I did dock loot between some of the videos here, so this is obviously not one whole cargo hold from everything I caught, but at the moment everything sits at about maybe 800 million total of everything that I found. And from those 100 million, I'm fairly sure I can get maybe 1.2, 1.3 billion when I build the stuff, so pretty good isk. Pretty good isk, just from exploration and industry. Will be very fun when I decide to sell all of that. Definitely going to be quite fun on the market. I have checked out the actual price of the stuff. I love it. You can also make some very nice isk if you combine combat, PvE and industry, especially if you're running the special sites like Inquisitors, Scouts and things like that, that can also drop some fat, juicy loot. Fat and juicy loot, always nice. Okay, let me go to the next box. I did find some very odd sites as well lately. Not really sure if I have included them in the video, but there were some very odd sites. I call them odd. I mean, there's so many different sites. It's kind of insane. I was really surprised to see at the variety of different sites that we have in the game. Some of them I've never actually seen. I think those that I never seen were level 5. I would actually add even more difficult sites to scan, and I would also add rats to spawn in the exploration sites. That would be definitely a lot more fun. Would also change the build on a lot of ships. Would make the combat aspect of the Astero or status even more prominent, since that's what's kinda lacks with exploration. I mean, it's quite relaxing, but would be, I would say, in some cases more fun when a spawn can happen with NPC ships that try to guard the exploration site, like in EVE Online. However, in EVE Online you have those ghost sites. They give me they're terrifying. Those ghost sites are scary. If we had something like that in this game, that would be awesome. That would be honestly awesome.
Warp drive
We'd fight the
active.
status 100% for those. Okay, so what do we have here, Ruined Angel Temple site. A angel temple. Lovely. I think this is the site where I found so many open boxes. Yeah, I think, yeah, it is this one. So someone was running the sites and they left one box. Let me just see what I'm talking about when I was talking about the empty boxes earlier in the video. However, I have to say that there's some very nice scenery and some objects that I've never seen before, which makes me curious to see how the other sites look. But there's definitely a lot of very fun stuff with the visual aspect of all these sites. Definitely a lot of lore behind it. And this one is also empty, I believe. Let's go to the next one. I mean, I'm not even surprised that they're so empty. This is, and the thing is, the site didn't despawn, and if the explorer who found this site kept on exploring, they would probably miss on new sites spawning in. The spawning mechanics are kind of interesting. Some say it's random, but there are some systems that always have a site in, so it's I don't think it's completely random. It definitely has a form of pattern behind it, and that's why I like to visit the same systems within a certain time frame. Usually the same systems do have sites with very good loot, and that was the only box that had anything inside. So yeah, I completed it, and down the road it probably spawned some more sites. I think I have like 2 more, and then yeah, I have 2 more sites to explore here. But overall, been a pretty good run. Was quite the relaxing run, actually. Of course, I have to be careful not to get caught, but usually it's pretty quiet, so being caught is not that, not that easy to happen, since I already know what to do, and always watch local, always be careful. And don't orbit at 0, don't approach, always orbit at about 5 kilometers, so that you can easily just cloak if something pops in. There is a period of about 10 to 15 seconds, depending on the performance of the device, that from the moment of showing up in local and from the moment of scanning, you have about 10 to 15 seconds to cloak. So it's nearly impossible to get caught in a exploration site if you cloak on time. So the second you see someone pop in local, that's where you should click cloak, because they're still in the jumping animation. And when the character shows in local, they are still literally in the middle of the jumping animation. So you have always a good chance to just stay quite safe from anyone who might potentially be looking for PvP. If you cloak right on time, you're safe. They can't find you. And if they do scan for PvE, then you will see them first before they see you, since they'll be warping in. And if it's a combat ship and if it cloaks, then it's a bait, so you can safely just go to the next system, or just leave that site until they're there. But again, it's very easy to survive without being killed. The problem is when they're already in the system, and if there is a exploration site, then yeah, that can be tricky. But a red scanner on the Stratos can easily solve that problem. And now I just look at the background, by the way. Just look at that huge structure in the background. It looks so good. I mean, they did a very good job with the graphics in the game. I love to watch the backgrounds. There's always something very interesting happening there. A lot of interesting stuff there that you can see. Sometimes you can actually see some ruined ships, which is always interesting, I guess. wrecked ships or abandoned ships. Would be fun if you can just find a ship like that just hanging in space. There's so many ideas that I have, and I think I'll just relay those ideas to the developers. Alright, nice, everything looted. Let's cloak and let's go to the next one. Yeah, there we go. It disappeared, lovely. Alright, let's go to the next one. This is a Sansha anomaly. I did a lot of Angel and Sansha anomalies today. Those are basically what I have at once, but still, I love Blood Raider exploration sites the most. However, this will also do. I'm not going to complain. Still have a lot of sites to myself, and it means that I can just continue relaxing with exploration. Doing a lot of other things besides PvP was definitely quite refreshing for me. It is something that I needed to do, since doing only one thing for 3 years can, burn you out from the game. Since I don't want to be burned out, I'll be doing a lot more besides only PvP, and I'm honestly excited to see that so far it's been doing really well. It went better than I have expected. In some areas it could definitely be much better, but again, I'm not going to complain. I'm very happy with I'm very happy with how things are currently going on. And going to be very exciting in the future and down the road, as they say, since I have some very interesting new series planned, and I think those series will be very fun. I'm personally excited to record them, so just have to wait for some things to be out, and then we are going to have some fun. So 2 boxes are left so far. Exploration, as I already said, been going really well. I'm quite happy with it. Did blow up some boxes, but it happens. Although it's still kind of annoying when you blow up a box, but it's just how it goes until the minigame is added. I feel like the minigame will make things a bit more difficult as well, because then you have to pay attention to the local end, have to pay attention to what you're doing, and that's going to be fun as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I don't know when they will add the minigame. I hope they do at one point, but still going to be quite exciting to see what happens. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. That was a very long, actually very long exploration run. But in any case, hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.